It's interesting because, I've known you more from the Toastmasters world than I did from basketball. And then I got a chance to go watch you as a fan, and I filled in for the last 2 games of last year.
Oh, yeah.
And watching you on the court, you're clearly in a leadership role. I kind of knew that going in, but we had a moment where you're even discussing things with the officials when they make a call. I think there was a technical or something, and my analyst even pointed out you felt like the team politician, right? You're the one who's trying to drop the piece of court sometime,
delegate and all that other stuff.
Does that resonate with you? Is that a role that you have on the team?
I would say, yeah, in a way. It just kind of depends. I feel like the role kind of changes as it goes. Just the same way as a player, just whatever the team need in that moment kind of deal. Sometimes I am that. Sometimes I do just delegate and just yell and it's do this, do this. And then sometimes I'm just there for just emotional support. So honestly, bro, yeah, yes, but it changes depending.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a little bit of you're a shapeshifter, right? You can do what's needed at any given time. Yeah. I'm curious more though, has that been on the floor as a basketball player? Has that always kind of been a place that you were comfortable with, is filling that space? Or has that really emerged with the Capitals?
Yes, it has been something I always did just because I grew up a point guard. So it was all just point guard life. So it's just more you have to be able to do any and everything. You have to be able to pick up full. You have to be able to make sure everyone's doing what they need to do. You have to be able to make sure that if you aren't hitting this, you got to be able to at least do that. It's always something. That's what I learned from being a point guard. There's never nothing to do.
How is that knowledge, experience, being a point guard, translated off the basketball floor? Does that emerge in your day-to-day life where those kind of tendencies?
Yeah, I would say yes and no. Yes, because primarily the things I do are sports related anyway. So I'm always finding a way to delegate, to encourage, to yell. But at the same time, if I'm not doing something sports related, not at all. Not at all. I really if I'm not doing sports related, I'm more trying to chill and listen.
So that's I find that interesting. So maybe a little bit of time to flip your brain off in that regard. Yeah.
That's what I use basketball a lot for, kind of to go there. Basketball has been something where it's so many different things it's been for me, but in the context of what we talking about, I'm just able to be another person, somebody I'm not usually, and it feels good to be able to have that. You feel me?
Yeah.
Because if I can't, it's gonna come out some way, shape, or form.
Right.
So I'm glad I got the opportunity to be able to play basketball and do that.
You're clearly cognizant of that, that, you're self-aware of that.
Word.
When do you feel like that kind of happened, in the course of your basketball career, when you realized, oh, this is more than just hoops, it's a place where I can be that guy?
It didn't happen until more, with the Capitals, that the year I was, I don't know. I feel like I kind of started it when I went to Corbin in 2019 because, just the way I play and just all of that good stuff. But yeah, I don't think it started clicking until now because I didn't live enough life to carry that much with me.
Yeah. So
now it's I got all these things. Oh, I regretted this, or I wanted to do that, or all this stuff. I can put it all into one now. I'm oh, I get another shot. Oh, I bet, but I still have that with me. So it's step brothers, even better. We got it when we 40. You feel me? So yeah, man, I just started really doing that more when I started at Corbin, and then going into the Capitals, being able to have more time to compete on the team.
How old are you?
I just turned 32.
Happy birthday.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah,
appreciate
you. For sure. So it's interesting because when I was talking to AB in a prior episode, I mentioned, in the broadcast life, I knew this was my calling since I was young.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize that I'd have to find other things that I was also meant to do in order to complete the income picture of my life. It's very hard to do broadcasting alone. Yeah. I bring that up because I had that realization about the time I turned 31, right? It sounds like you have just expressed to me almost summarizing your first 30 plus years of experience,
Yeah.
and you're starting to pull information or
Right.
realizations from that.
Real talk.
How are you hearing that? Like, am
No.
I onto the track there?
Yeah, man, because that's facts.
Yeah.
Like, straight up, like, everything that I'm doing now has a point of reference. Like, anything that I want to do, I got somewhere. I'm like, oh, like, I've been there. Like, even if like right now, like, I'm feeling like, oh, I need to do more. I feel like I'm procrastinating more than I usually do. I'm like, oh, okay, I've been through this when this happened. You know what I'm saying? So, or if I hurt myself, I already know what to do immediately.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As opposed to, oh, I need to go to the doctor. I know exactly when I need to go to the doctor. You know what I mean? And so being able to like have those things, it really helped me not trip or really give myself more grace, you know, because one way or another, I at least have some type of a plan to react. So if I can take that information and do it before I have to react, you know, now I got a chance to have new problems. And that's a good problem.
Yeah. Yeah, because you said it just now. You know how to react to some things that you pull away from that. But I was going to ask you how valuable it is now that you realize that you have that database of
Yeah.
experience. But it sounds like it lives in that world of
Sometimes
gratitude.
Sometimes it paralyzes me.
Tell me more. What do you mean?
Like, for example, like there's something I want to do, and I know exactly, like I planned it out, wrote it down, did all of those things, like, but now because I know exactly what it takes, I feel like I can wait, or I feel like that's too much. Like I don't, like where do I even begin, or you know things like that. But simply because I know what to do now. Like even now, like even with basketball, I'm like I could really make a I could really make a push. I could play till I'm 40 if right now I make the decision now, I'll be able to do that without just struggling into every season or struggling into every year playing. Like I can really make a play. I can really make a move. But then I'm like, damn, I'm gonna have to wake up at 5 o'clock every day for the next 8 years. I'm gonna have to minimum. I'm gonna have to do this. I'm gonna have to do that. So sometimes I'm like, whew, do I want to go do that today, or do I want to go do that right now? So sometimes it's kind of paralyzing in that regard because I know because I've done it. I tried it before, and it didn't work out. But so now like sometimes just knowing I'm like shit, I don't want to do that.
You're describing like a possibility of playing till you're 40, which obviously is the next 10 years of your life. And I imagine motivation is part of the component of being able to project possibly doing something for 10 more years of life. I guess my question is what motivates you now, maybe for basketball, but just kind of in life too? Like, what's your motivation these days?
I could say I'll say this. Like there's things that make me feel good. There's things that make me feel good, but I would say right now, because I know, like I said, what it takes, I know also that motivation ain't it. Motivation is not what's gonna get it done. Motivation just makes me feel good about it. It just makes me, gives me a little boost if anything. But motivation burns. Like, you feel me? So I would say more than having it's like more of a sense of duty almost. It's like more of a responsibility. Like Spider-Man didn't get to choose to be bit by the spider. Do you feel me? But he still, because he had that, he had to go do what he had to go be Spider-Man, whether he wanted to or not. It was up to him. And so I guess it's just more of a responsibility because I'm not supposed to I'm supposed to be here, but I'm not statistically supposed to be here. 29-year-old rookie's crazy. You know what I mean? And sitting here talking to myself, preparing to try to go compete for year 4, that's nuts to me to have that conversation. So I wouldn't say I'm motivated, just more like if I continue to practice basketball, I can go to schools and talk to kids. If I continue to lift weights, I can go be someone's mentor. If I continue to, whatever comes with being an athlete, I can go and do what I really want to do. And that's impact the youth. You feel me? So it's just a responsibility. Like I hoop because like it pays the bill inside to be able to do that. Because if I walk my talk, I can go say whatever I want to these kids.
I know that about you. I know that you want to have an impact on youth. I want to tie it to the Capitals too.
Gotcha.
How has being a member of the Capitals organization, how have the Capitals leadership empowered you to additionally do that impact that you want to do?
Without the Capitals, it don't happen, bro. Without the Capitals, it don't happen. Not only do like, let alone just the platform itself, because every player on our team can literally go and talk to kids at any given time too. But it's just more like you said. It empowered me to believe in myself more. It empowered me to be a little bit more audacious in my goals. It empowered me to, you know, look in the mirror and for better or for worse, accept who I am and be able to go out and be that person. You feel me? Like it's been the process as far as like having like imposter syndrome and all this other crap. But all in all, bro, I think it genuinely just made me a decent dude. It made me better. Made me better to where I can call myself decent internally. And that to me, that's the best thing I could possibly be.
I find that message linked to that impact because I think about, my kids
Mm-hmm.
and the challenges that they face in terms of, you know, when you're in middle school, even as old as I am, it was tough to be yourself anyway, but it feels like that has been exaggerated now because they have so much more access to everybody in the world.
Right.
Are you seeing that? Do you think like that message? It's more difficult now as a youth to be the true self.
That's a great question because that's kind of part of the message that I talk to the kids about. That's one of the three things that I tell them. One of them is be yourself. And I tell them, I'm like, well, if you be yourself, of course, like you're unique, you're special, etc. Like all the things you've been told, that's true. That's cool. Let's put a pin in that. Feel me? But what I would tell you, the reason why I would say be yourself and the thing that you get out of it, one, it could save your life because it saved mine. Because me trying to be myself in the environment I grew up in, my homeboys, my friends was like, hey, this ain't for you. And on the other note, me being myself helped me because of that find out who my real friends was. Like not the people that it was just we got things in common, but the few things we have in common are what bonds us. You feel me? Like being a Pokemon guy, everybody like that wasn't really the best thing. Like that wasn't like the coolest thing you could do. But some people laughed, and they were still my friends, like or my homies or whatever. But my friends to this day are, hey bro, like my DMs are crazy with people sending me Pokemon stuff. My friends are offering me Pokemon cards on my birthday that they found in their garage. That's worth money, but they're like, no, you're the Pokemon dude, like etc. So, and a lot of those people I talk to this day, to this day. So, I think it's hard to be yourself in general because you feel like you're going to be judged like any other generation. But I think this generation, I feel like it's a little bit easier because you can go find your group with the click of a button. So I think being yourself is one thing, but finding a group that's gonna hold you accountable to who you actually are, that's different. Because everybody ain't gonna tell you what you don't want to hear. Those are your friends who do. You know what I mean? So it's hard, but I think they make it harder because they don't pick the right friends all the time.
And I'm going to ask you a little bit about your home and have you elaborate on some of that in a moment. But I also remember when I was looking up some stuff about you, you said something to the effect of like, absolutely love Salem, Oregon.
Love it.
Right. Why?
Bro, all the coolest things in my life happen here. Like all the best stuff happen here. Like I can't even explain it. Like,
well, for someone who's never been here or maybe has stopped by but has never lived it the way that you have, how would you describe this place?
First off, man, when you come in on that plane and when you hit the Northwest and you see I came from Las Vegas. It's mountains and desert. So to come somewhere and see mountains that are covered in trees, crazy to even like. It doesn't look right. It look different. Getting off the plane and going, tasting the air, bro. Me and my bro Dev. As soon as we got off the tarmac in Eugene, we was like, bros, we both lived the same thing. And so just that, you can drink water out of the faucet. I think that's dope. When you go walking down the street or whatever, like people, oh, how you doing? And then wait for you to respond and tell you how your day's going. Like whether they care really or not, they care enough. It's not weird. Like at first I'm like, why? Like for real, like why? Like now wait for them to do their pitch or whatever. But just that right there was culture shocks. But I would say the thing that I love most about Salem in general, um, I think it's a hidden gem. I love a good come up. You feel me? I love watching the grind. I love seeing like I got to see this place started back in like 2011, maybe 2011ish, and I got to see a lot of the early infrastructure and watch a lot of things change, at least from my point. And I get to meet the people who are actually trying to do the change. And if I don't account all the things that happened to me and just those kind of things, I think it's dope because I think Salem is really on the come up. Like it's a capital city. It has everything you need. It has the malls. We got airport now. We got commercial flight. We have freaking a downtown. We have multiple spots where you can do everything. We got enough high schools for all the kids. We got like, bro, we got all the things that you would need that like if you were in a small, we got a Walmart. Like you feel me? We got Target. Like we got Buffalo. Like it's certain things that when you chasing the ball and you go to all these different places that you take for granted, it's all here.
Yeah.
Like you still got it. It's a capital city. And on top of that, if you really want to, you can go talk to the people. The people who make the decisions. They're right down the street.
Yeah.
Like if you really want to take it there. So I just think, Salem in that regard, like it's unique in the Northwest because it's a capital, and it hasn't even scratched the surface of what it could be yet. And while everybody else is just like, they did their thing, but now it's about to be our turn.
Love it. You getting to Salem is an intriguing story in my mind. How did you get to Salem, get to Corbin?
Shoot, bro.
Chemeketa.
Transparency time. So around the time I was seeing a girl, we were really tight, and we were going to have a kid at the time. And so I was going to go to school in Washington with my bros. But when I found out she was pregnant, I'm like, okay, let me go to you. I want to be there for everything. I want to be where you are because this is where she is from. And so I ended up there. I ended up here. And during that process, I went, played in like an open gym, or not open gym, like an adult league at like the courthouse. And I ended up playing against the assistant coach, the now head coach, Jeff Williams at Chemeketa. And so like I do that and it was a great time. And he's like, hey bro, what is you doing? Who are you? Like what's going on? And I'm like, I don't know. I think I'm leaving to Washington though. I don't know. But I go to an open gym or two and then they offer me a scholarship. So at this time I'm reffing at the hoop. I'm coaching middle school at the hoop. And now I got an offer to go play out here. My girl's out here. We about to start a family, all that. I tell my mom, she's like, well, why would you leave? I'm like, I ain't never thought of it like that. Like, you feel me? Like, that's all I needed to hear. And right then and there, I'm like, all right, this is what I'm doing. Mind you, I don't regret it as a person. As an athlete, I do. Simply because I missed opportunity to go play with my best friends. And to this day, that's probably my only athletic regret. I didn't get to go play with my bros. And not only that, they went to the championship and lost that year. They were undefeated and lost to the championship that year. And to this day, my bro's like, it's all your fault, bro. It's all your fault.
At least you know you were the missing piece.
Yeah, he was
right?
like, it's all your fault.
What was the school that they were playing at?
Pierce College
Okay.
up in Washington.
So you described a time in your life, potential family starting and not quite knowing necessarily why you were in Salem per se, right? Like what's my purpose here? And you fast forward now 10 years later and like, this is your place.
Yeah.
You know what you're meant to do.
Yeah.
How refreshing is that to go from the guy you were, it's over 10 years at this point, but to where you are now?
Honestly, man, every day is almost cathartic. Like I said earlier, like all the coolest things in my life happened here. I got married here. I got to coach my little brother in high school. I got to coach him in college. I got to be his guardian. I I got to start a business and referee with one of my like closest bros, and I got to train. I got to be a part of the basketball world here. I got to be accepted. You know, I found friends and family from here. I got to get 2 degrees out here. You know, I found a coach that changed my life. After I lost a coach that changed my life, and the list really goes on, bro. The list can really go on. Like the only picture I have that I can say this is me and my parents, like both of them in the same picture with me, is here in Salem at the fairgrounds after I graduated from Shemeka. Like that's sick, you know? Like all of that, like all of that, like all of that. I can keep going, bro. Like all of that.
I hope you share that photo with us.
Yeah, I got you.
That'd be cool.
I got you.
I did want to touch on, you know, growing up and stuff, like what was the basketball, like undertones of you growing up? Like how did basketball emerge as a thing for you?
Well, basketball always been a thing, as far as I can remember at least. It's been a family thing. My big brother, his name Marcus Lawrence. He is probably like the best player in the world to me growing up. He still is one of the best players I ever played with. Now my best friend Devin is my favorite player. But so he made it to where basketball was always a thing for us because he was so good. And so I've always loved basketball. Never wanted to practice. Big Pokemon guy, you know, Pokemon, Dragon Ball Z, Yu-Gi-Oh, like all that stuff. She's like, yeah, bro, you want to be good at basketball? Go outside and practice. I'm like, no. Pokemon come on at 3:30. I get out of school at 3:26. I gotta go. Like freaking Dragon Ball Z come on at 5. We don't got cable, so I go to my friend's house. I gotta see if his mama let us in the house. Like, you know, I had to figure out how to watch my shows. Like I didn't really care much to go practice basketball, you feel me? So basketball's always been there. I've always been capable. And that's kind of why I play now, like why I try so hard now, because God let me stay capable. And after all the regrets I got, it's the least I can do is, you know, go out there and give it my best now and try my best now because if I didn't practice, I shouldn't be here. But I was really good at not giving up. Thank goodness I watched all those shows. All those shows, that was the point, you know. So I did learn something from not practicing outside that helped me on basketball court, and that's never give up. And yeah, it's all about your friends and treating people the right way. And one way or another, it's gonna work out.
What do you remember about your first experience with Pokemon? Like,
oh hell yeah, I'll never forget. My grandpa was in the military, and he came back and he gave my mom this tape. It was a VHS tape of them explaining Pokemon to the American audience. So it's like literally like you pop in the tape. It's a real lady. She's like, "Oh, I'm Ash's mom, and this is the world of Pokemon," and da 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 da. And then they show you the first episode, and that's the one where Ash he get Pikachu, and they fight in the they're running from the Spearow, and Pikachu does the Thunderbolt and finally trusts Ash, and all that. And I'll never forget watching it for the first time because I'm watching it, and it's at a really sad part because Ash is like, "Oh, Pikachu, I'll save you." Pikachu's like, and I'm like ready to cry, and then my Uncle Tommy walk in, and this is like my uncle that'll just like hit you in the chest, like, "What's up?" And so I'm in this vulnerable position watching cartoons, ready to cry. Uncle Tommy walk in, and I'm trying to be hard. And yeah, he socks me in my chest like usual. But that's my first like real memory of that's my very first memory of Pokemon. Wow. Like watching that first episode on VHS, turned up, hyped up, and getting socked in my chest for like watching cartoons, ready to cry.
You talk about Uncle Tommy, and I can imagine myself in that scenario, right? Because I get the impression that you're supposed to be tough, right? And here you are vulnerable. Yeah. But it seems like that's a perfect example of what you're talking about being your true self. Yeah. You are a emotional person, right? I am. Yeah.
100%.
So I have a moment when I was 10. My grandpa took me to my first Denver Broncos game. And I remember the sights and the sounds and the energy of the stadium. Yeah. I'm very extroverted, and so big crowds of people just fuel me. Yeah. I bring that up to you because I believe that moment is why I still care about the outcome of the Denver Broncos now as much as I did when I was 10.
Bro, I swear.
You were a little kid watching
Yeah.
Pokemon for the first time, and you've referenced Pokemon to me at least 3 or 4 times just sitting here. You're wearing Gengar shoes, right? This is you, right? How valuable is it, in your opinion, to have something that you care about as much today as an adult as you did when you were a 10-year-old?
That's a great question. I think it's important to have some, because something, especially as a young male, like, you got to have some type of foundation. You have to have some type of code. I feel like everybody needs something they live by, but like myself, like just growing up with like just my cousins, my brothers and all that, just being around a bunch of dudes, one thing I realized is we need a code. And something I realized about Pokemon and anime and things of that nature, they have things that are non-negotiable just off of from a character standpoint. Like, so being able to understand, like, yo, try your freaking hardest. Somebody out there is better than you. You should be train, work hard. Treat your friends, animals, and everyone else with respect. You feel me? Like, the journey never ends. Like, just keep on going. Like, the never give ups. You feel me? Like, it's okay to go through adversity. How you respond is the point. Like, Mewtwo even said it in the Pokemon the first movie. Like, it's like the life, like how we were born, like the circumstances of our birth don't really matter. What we do with the life we got does. Bro, I'm freaking in 3rd or 4th grade. I heard that and I'm like, he's spitting. Like, cause Mewtwo's a clone. He woke up one day and it's like, what's going on? And so, yeah, he was mad. And then next thing you know, he realized like, oh dang, like I can do what I want with my life. It's up to me. And yeah, I thought that was a huge thing as a kid. Like, I could do what I want. I can really do what I want. Like, mind you, like whatever my circumstances is, I can do something with that, not in spite of it. I can take that and like work with that. Hell yeah.
That's cool. I'm going to do something I don't usually do because I'm usually live, but I don't have to worry about that on a podcast. I'm going to pull this website up really quick. This is the Capitals website, and I'm going to click on the team, and I'm going to go down to your profile because, I want to double check my facts. You were asked who is your hero. You said Ash Ketchum, and I looked at that, and before I got a chance to talk to you, I would have thought, oh, that's kind of tongue-in-cheek. I genuinely believe you mean that.
No, stop. I almost freaked out.
How big of a deal is that? Like,
it's a huge deal.
Yeah.
Like, bro, like, I don't think anybody understands, like, what this kind of stuff can do for people. Like, bro, I cried, genuine, like, I can't even think. Like, you know how people were acting when, like, the Cubs or someone won the World Series, or, like, who, like, somebody, like, they're like, we won. We got our first champion, Cleveland. Like, bro, I watched Ash win his first championship, lost it. And when he won the Lola League championship, bro, lost it, crying. I'm in study hall. I'm like, I can't handle it. I don't care, coach. Then he goes on to win the world coronation, like the world championship. Like, he's the #1 trainer in the world. Like, the #1 he actually became the very, bro, I lost my mind. 25 years. It took him 25 years to become the very best. I thought he was just I thought it was, like you said, tongue in cheek. I thought he was just talking. But bro put in the work. He gave away he let so many of his best Pokemon go. He made sacrifices for their better good. Stayed down for the come up. First Pokemon League championship, he's fighting his alter ego, Richie, and his Charizard doesn't want to fight Richie's Pikachu. And then Ash loses his first championship. All the way fast forward 20-something years later, Ash's Pikachu fighting the undefeated Charizard for the World Championship to win at the buzzer. Bro, I can watch that right now and cry all over again. So, only other episode I'll cry is when Ash let Butterfree go.
So there's to the Salem Capitals marketing department, and our episode with Alan, we got to have some community play PS5 with Alan. We got to have a watch party of Pokemon with Domo, because that'll translate. I promise you.
Yeah.
All right, we got to wrap it up, but I have a couple of quick hitters for you.
Yeah.
Your first Instagram post, and I want to send people to your Instagram, so I'll make sure to promote that in my outro. But you have a drawing of a basketball. It's kind of black and white, and it says, "This is what my soul looks like." What do you remember about why you posted that?
Damn, bro. So with that, first off, I had my wife draw that for me. She drew it. And it's a logo solely based on something that I'm doing now. I want to become a basketball sensei, which essentially I want to approach and treat the game like a martial art, not a sport. And with that, big Dragon Ball Z guy. So if you watch Dragon Ball Z, or even martial arts, they have their, I don't want to call it a logo, but they have their thing where they show you like what house they're from or who they train under. And it looks like that, like they have it on their back. And I'm like, well, shoot, like I want my thing. So every time I go play, I go out in the world, you know what type of basketball player I am. You know what I'm here for. You know what type of fighting style I'm going to do, essentially. And when I have it out and I look at it and I bid, and like once it finally got drew out, like the logo you see and the one that I will put on my clothes, that's the first drawing. Like that's what it looks like, the first sketch. Like it didn't change. And I'm like, that's the one. Like that's it. Like that's crazy enough, it's not even a basketball.
When you know, you know.
Yeah.
Right? When you see it, you know.
Yeah. And
it's cool.
Yeah, it's not even a basketball. It's a crazy thing. But the fact that it could be perceived as one is probably, to me, like, lets me know, like, yeah. That's the one.
It's like one of those blot drawings that, you go through the thing. What do you see? And then they analyze, because that's the first thing I saw. And I think that's cool perspective in the sense that, like, it shows what life is like through different eyes, right? One person sees something, another person sees it differently. I got to ask you, you said you're at the fairgrounds, you have a picture with your two parents together with you.
Yeah.
What does that imply? Did they not spend a lot of time with one another? I'm confused by that.
No, they split when I was little, like when I was like 1 or 2, something like that. Everything's been cool. They just weren't together.
Yeah.
Like they still are friends to this day. Like it's not like nothing crazy. It just didn't work out.
Okay. So then why were you so impacted when they were in that photo together with you?
I never had a picture. I never got to say my parents. Like growing up, like I didn't notice I never said it until I'm like, oh, yo, it's a picture of me and my parents. I'm like, oh shit, that's new vocabulary. Like I've never said my parents. It's either my mom or my dad, or my mom and dad. I never got to say my parents. And just when first time I ever said that, I just thought it was dope, you know? Yeah, that was dope.
Is it printed or only on your phone?
I don't have it printed, actually. Actually, I do think I have one picture of it, just because like someone printed it out for me.
Well, thanks for sharing that with us. We'll appreciate it. You mentioned you got to Salem because you're going to have a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Is the kid around?
Oh, no, we lost him.
Okay.
We lost him.
Okay.
Well, but yeah. He's living on as a dog now, though.
Well, and I know we could talk more about your dogs. I'm going to send people to your Instagram because I know there's pictures of dogs on the Instagram too. What are the dogs' names?
Boji and Eevee. Eevee, Pokemon. Boji's an anime character because he's a sweet prince kind of kid, sweet guy.
Before we wrap, what do you want to add that I didn't ask?
I would just like to say to anyone, your best looks different every day. If you have enough courage to give 100% of the 70% you have, then you got a shot. We won't all have the same opportunities, but we all will have a chance to have a chance. And all the things you do while not doing the thing will determine how well you do the thing when the time comes. So just do your best to try to do your best. It's more than enough.
Thanks for all you're doing.
Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you.